What's up, Psychedelic Investors? My name's James, and you're watching The Psychedelic Investor, your #1 news source for psychedelic stocks and everything MindMed. So the reason I'm doing this video today is I was recently interviewed on the YouTube channel, The Medicine of Being Human, hosted by the wonderful Sena. She has a great channel where she talks about everything from spirituality to psychedelics to microdosing. So today, we're going to show you a little clip from this interview, and then if you want to see more, I definitely suggest you go check out the rest of the interview on her channel. I'll put a link in the description, and while you're there, make sure to like and subscribe to The Medicine of Being Human to help her grow. I was very excited to do this. It was my first time ever being interviewed, so let me know down in the comments how it went. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, like and subscribe to help the channel grow so that you keep seeing these videos. Enjoy the clip, and don't forget to watch the whole interview at The Medicine of Being Human.
It's going to be fascinating to follow this. I'm really excited. Yeah. Okay. So let's go down to nuts and bolts. If I'm someone that's never invested in a stock, I don't even really know what a stock is. What does it mean to invest in psychedelics, and how can I do that?
Okay, so I guess first of all, you wouldn't really be investing in psychedelics. The first thing to understand is you're investing in a company that's dealing with psychedelics.
Okay.
So right now there's two main companies. There's actually like 25 companies that you can invest in, but there are two kind of big boys in the field, with the third one about to come this year, and those would be Mind Medicine, Compass Pathways, and then a company that you'll be able to invest in later this year. It's called the Thai Life Sciences. And then there are dozens of others, like there's a company called Entheon, which is dealing with DMT. There's a company called Revive Therapeutics, which I think is dealing in ketamine. And really, it can be a little bit overwhelming when you first start Googling investing in psychedelics, because there's so many different companies and they're all doing different things. But it's important to remember that at the end of the day, you're investing in a company and not necessarily psychedelics itself. So you need to understand the company and ensure that it's a company that not only is doing cool science things and really pushing the boundaries, but also you want to make sure that it's a company that is following some ethical guidelines. Make sure it's a company that is financially stable, because this is something a lot of people don't realize, is doing these tests is very expensive.
Yeah.
Because you got to pay dozens of doctors, you got to pay for the lab equipment, you got to pay the participants. So you need to make sure that a company can really afford to do hundreds of millions of dollars a year. Maybe not a year, but have hundreds of millions of dollars to fund these different projects. So yeah, that would be the first thing. You'd have to decide kind of what companies you're really looking at. Yeah. And then if you have no idea really how to invest in stocks, like I didn't when I originally wanted to invest in Tesla 3-4 years ago, and like many people, especially in the United States with these stimulus checks that people are getting, they're starting to look at investing for the first time.
Right.
So the first thing you need to do is you need to find yourself a brokerage. So in the United States, especially for retail investors, the most popular one right now is Robinhood. There's also stuff like Webull, and it's quite simple to set up an account. You can do it all online. You can get it done fairly quickly. Sometimes you can invest that day. Sometimes you got to wait a few days for them to verify your identity and stuff.
Okay.
The issue with investing in psychedelics, however, is a lot of these companies, including MindMed, in the United States, they're on something called the over-the-counter market, or the OTC market.
Mm-hmm.
And this basically means that they are they're a little bit more of a riskier play. They weren't deemed to be as stable as companies that are, say, on the NASDAQ or the New York Stock Exchange.
Okay.
And a lot of these platforms that you can invest in, like Robinhood and like Webull, they don't actually allow you to invest in the OTC market. So if you wanted to invest in some of the players on this field, you'd have to find, if you're in America, it's different if you're in Canada.
Okay.
But if you're in the United States, you'd actually have to find yourself a brokerage which allows you to invest in these companies. So there are a few examples, like there's TD Ameritrade, which you can use, which allows it. There is, I'm blanking on the name of the other.
I know Charles Schwab is one.
Yes, that's one also. And these will allow you to put your money in to OTC markets, companies rather. However, even if you're not on even if you're on, say, something like Robinhood, you can still invest in the company called Compass Pathways, which is on the NASDAQ.
Right.
And Mind Medicine, and which is, again, in my opinion, the most advanced company in this field, they're actually looking to be added to the NASDAQ. So they would go off of the OTC market and go onto the NASDAQ, which hopefully will happen sometime, let's say, before the end of April. So then that would really open the doors up to basically anybody that has a Robinhood account to invest in them. But at the moment, again, if you do want to invest in MindMed specifically, or basically any of the other smaller companies, you would have to find yourself a brokerage which allows you to trade OTC in the United States.
Okay.
And then also something to keep in mind is if you're planning on taking out this money quickly, or if this is more of a retirement play, because if you're in the United States, you can open something called a Roth IRA, which will basically allow you to invest tax-free, but you can't touch it until you're, I think, 56 or 57, something like that.
Okay.
So if you're saving for retirement, I would definitely suggest opening a Roth IRA if you're in the United States, and then this will allow you to basically invest tax-free. If you're not, if you're young like we are, and you're thinking you might want to take out the money before you're almost 60 years old, yeah, you can just open a regular brokerage account, and you'll have to pay taxes on it, which sucks, but it's the way of the world. If you're in Canada, however, I don't know if you have any Canadian listeners, but if you're in Canada and you're looking to invest, you can open something called a TFSA, which is a tax-free savings account, which is amazing. And you can invest quite a bit of money completely tax-free. It's like $6,000 a year from the time you were 18. So if I'm 27 years old, I can invest $6,000 times 9, which is like what, 50, I'm blanking on this, $54,000 tax-free, which is pretty great. But yeah, getting back to what does it mean to invest in psychedelics? You're investing in specific companies. You're not investing in the psychedelic therapies themselves. So that's just something you need to be cognizant of.
Yeah.
And if you are investing, again, I always preach being responsible with your money. You don't want to put in any money that you need to have now, because you are taking a risk.
Right.
So when you're investing in any sector, be it psychedelics or whatever, you only want to use money that you, no matter what, won't need to use for, say, 5 years. This is a little bit of disposable income, and you hope that in 5-10 years that this will grow and balloon so that you have yourself a real nest egg.
Right.
But if you're putting like the money that you need for next month's rent into stocks, like that's not a good idea. Maybe it will work out for you, but you really need to be responsible with your money.
Yeah. Because again, back to the beginning, like these companies, it may be 5 years. It may, before we're actually seeing major growth in the stock market.
And something that's important to note also, if you're investing in psychedelics, you really need to have a long-term outlook, especially because these are smaller companies. What you'll see is there's lots of volatility in the stock price. Some days it will be up 30%, some days it will be down 30%. And you really need to learn how to not panic when you see that. Because some days it will look pretty bad. And like, I don't even look at my balance most days anymore, because it just doesn't matter to me. Like I put my money in and I'm planning on cashing out in like 10, 15 years. So if it's down 30% this week, like it doesn't matter to me at all. As long as the underlying thesis that I have about these companies remains in place. If anything, when they fall, which they will, what comes up must go down. When they fall, I view it as more of a buying opportunity than anything else. Like these stocks are on sale today.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, that's really an idea that I would like to drill home, is people need to be okay with volatility.